Well, the St. Louis Cardinals just finished up a week of baseball where they went 5-6, sweeping the Chicago White Sox, taking 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds, and now have a critical series against the NL Central Division leading Chicago Cubs. First Cubs-Cardinals matchup of the entire year. We're going to preview that, talk about this past series against Cincinnati Reds, stay the Cardinals as we always do, and what we expect out of them this week and what is a huge week of games for the St. Louis Cardinals on this episode of Deal on the Card. Welcome back into Deal on the Cards. Josh, Andrew, and Sandy, as always. Kind of sucks that it feels like they always drop the last game of the series if they win it. And so you get on here and you're like, they lost it.
Yeah.
But let me remind people that you go back a week ago and people are like, oh no, the sky is falling. They've lost 7 of the last 8. And I completely forgot that they went on a huge run for almost 2 months. Wow, they're so bad. And then they won 5 of 6. I get it. It's Chicago White Sox. I get it. It was Cincinnati Reds. I get it. They could have lost some of those games. I'm having fun with it. But it's baseball. The Cardinals they're not back. I almost said that, but I didn't mean it like that. They had a better week of baseball. Assuming the Twins lose this game, the Cardinals will be out of a playoff spot. But if they do come back and win today, the Cardinals are in a playoff spot right now for as gloomy as things felt a week ago. And again, they did beat a division rival in the Cincinnati Reds that I'm not a huge believer in, but again, they're in the thick of it, and they're a team that is going to bring up Chase Burns here as soon as the Cardinals avoided that monstrosity, because it feels like that wouldn't have gone well. They did get the sweep of the White Sox, which I know you guys already broke that down, and they did take 2 of 3 from the Reds. So Sandy, how are you feeling about just the weekend for the Cardinals and kind of the momentum heading into what is such a huge series?
Yeah, I mean, look, it does kind of feel like the Cardinals are treading water a bit, which I'm sure we'll talk about more. But it's always nice to fatten up on some bad teams. You know, I think the White Sox are not good at all. Everyone knows that. And I don't think the Reds are great. I think all 3 of us are in the we'll believe in the Reds when they show us something real bucket.
For sure.
Yeah, another series where it felt like the Cardinals may not have played their best baseball, but they scored when it counted. They got big hits when it counted. They were able to, win the series. They've won a lot of close games recently. It's been a lot of fun to watch. But again, it's one of those things that might feel a little unsustainable. So I get where some of the pessimism is coming. But look, Cardinals just had a 5-game win streak. No matter how you play, if you're winning 5 games in a row, you're doing something right. So that just happened. They're in a good spot right now. And they're in a great spot coming up against the Cubs, who it looks like are going to lose today. They're down, I think, 14-6 to the Mariners. Can't count this Cubs offense out. But they're in a spot where they're going to be 4.5 back in the division coming into a huge series. And look, if the Cardinals take 3 of 4, they're right there in it, moving forward. So can't complain about where we are. I think if you went to Cardinals fans in December and said, listen here, Cardinals are going to be 6 or 7 games above 500 in late June, they'd take it in a heartbeat, Yeah. So that's us just complaining about little things and nitpicking when on the whole, it's been a pretty darn good stretch of baseball.
Yeah. Andrew, how'd you feel about this weekend of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, they fought in both games that they did win. Today was a little bit disappointing, but that'll happen from time to time. They did win 5 games in a row, so not too much to complain about. I was a little bit more down on them after the White Sox series, and I think you guys were. Josh, you weren't here. You can fill us in on how you felt. But, sweeping the White Sox I didn't think was a particularly great accomplishment, but you do take 2 of 3 against a division rival that you were tied with going into this series, I believe. Maybe they were 1 game back, but that was a team that you're competing with in the division race and the wild card race. So it's good to see them play good baseball against them. They had a great comeback win yesterday, which, I feel like could have gone a little bit better at certain times, but I'm not going to complain too much because they did end up squeezing that one out. And then today, it kind of just is what it is. I'm not really going to hang my hat on taking 2 out of 3 from a team that very well could have gone sideways for you, especially with how bad they were playing against some of the real teams that they were playing against a couple weeks ago that aren't the White Sox. So glad to see that. And then I think the Cubs series is the one that really will tell us where this team is at. I know Shota Imanaga is coming back for that one. So that'll be fun for me to watch. But yeah, if they can split with the Cubs or take 3 of 4, maybe even sweep the Cubs. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. then I'll feel pretty good about this team going into All-Star break, going into trade deadline. There's still a couple more weeks before we get there, but that's what I'm looking at. I think the Cubs series is still more important out of these two, but it's good to see them take care of business against the Reds.
For sure, you're right. Like Cubs Cardinals is always holds importance, but this is one of the best teams in the National League. The Cardinals get to go up against and do a little just like a little state of the union, I guess, right? Like test yourself out. Doesn't mean if you lost 3 or 4, got swept, that you're for sure not a team that can compete this year. But I would argue this Cubs Cardinals series might be the series that defines if they're a buyer or a seller. Like it might be this series you look back on and say, well, they built on their momentum. They cut into the division lead. It'll be it's 4.5 right now. Did the Cubs already play today?
I think they're losing pretty badly to the Mariners right now.
Okay, so it should be 4 games. So you theoretically could tie the division lead for if you sweep the Cubs. You can eat into it significantly and just be down 2 games after this, or you can be down up to 8 games after this.
It'll be 4.5 after the Cubs.
I thought it's 4.5 right now.
No, it's 5 now after our loss.
Oh, it hadn't updated. Okay, so you could theoretically be down 1 or down 9 after this series. Yeah. Like, so, or something in between. And I think even the vibes and momentum will mean a lot here. I was poking fun earlier when I'm saying like, oh, people are freaking out about it. Because my thing was like in the moment when they lost 7 of 8, it was like, okay, we're a little prisoner of the moment right now, where they just came off of one of the best stretches in all baseball for a sustained stretch. And how because of 1.5 weeks of bad baseball, people are like, this team's terrible. We were all like fools to believe in it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, but now they have a good week baseball. It's like my thing has been for weeks now that I like this team. I think it's a competitive team. It's a pretty good team, but in the National League, that's not good enough to make the playoffs, probably. And so could they? Sure. Will they stay in the race? I think so if they continue to play like this. But I just look at the National League and I look at the Cubs, the Mets, and the Dodgers as division winners. And I look at the Phillies and I look at the Padres and I look at the Giants, all as teams that are better than you right now, that whole playoff spots. And that's just going to be really I have a hard time believing the Giants or the Padres are going to follow the playoff race. I definitely don't think the Phillies are going to do that. And then you do have the Brewers like with you in that mix right now. You do have the Reds. Again, I need to see something from them to actually believe in them. But again, they could do something. The Diamondbacks could be something. The Braves, they look dead, but you never know. So that's where it's like, yeah, they could, and I would love for it to happen, but there's just a lot of things working against them, and this team hasn't experienced those. Ivan Herrera has had multiple big injuries, which that's been frustrating, but the rotations remained healthy. You might be able to argue it might get better if you have an injury in there. The bullpen has been already shaky, and it could get worse if an injury or two happened in there, and for the most part, your offense has been healthy, and you haven't really missed many of the bigger bats, even though you look at the lineup, and there really isn't more than one, or you could maybe argue 2 big bats this year with Brendan Donovan and Ivan Herrera. I guess Alec Burleson, but other than that, it's kind of who's the hot hand right now. And again, I just don't think it's enough to make it nationally. But again, you have a really good series against the Cubs here, and you build upon the momentum. And we did see what they did for a month and a half. Well, we saw last year where the team had a terrible start to the year, then a hot middle summer where it was like end of May through early July, and then they fell off again. I mean, and they had a little streak in July to kind of make it like, okay, we can kind of buy. Does the team have another run in them potentially? Like, I don't know what'll happen with that, but this Red series frustrating in some ways. And I'm saying with the White Sox one, they could have lost a lot of those games. But I mean, you look at the course of a baseball season, and you can say that about a lot of teams, about a lot of games. I'm not overly concerned about it. I am interested though. Like Sandy, you brought up this point. We're poking fun at you a little bit, but I get what you're saying, and I think more so from a state of the offense. But when you look at this team, you don't have a guy that's like a 30 home run hitter. No. Ivan Herrera is your middle of the order bat, but he keeps missing significant time, so you don't have him for a while. Alec Burleson's been hot lately, but we've also seen him have stretches of that before, so it's great right now. But okay, Brendan Donovan's been good, but right now you have an 806 OPS from Brendan Donovan on the year, 810 from Burleson, 925 from Herrera. If those 3 guys are healthy, that's really helpful. Without Ivan Herrera, now you have 2 guys at above 800 OPS, and the next highest on the team of your consistent regulars is Wilson Contreras at a 738.
It's been bad.
I would think this is supposed to be the strength of the team, and they are top 10 in runs scored in baseball right now. But they've dropped to like 18th in OPS. They're, I think, like 7th in batting average, 8th in OBP, 19th in slug, or something like that.
They're not walking as much as they were early in the season either. And part of that is the struggles from Nootbaar. Part of it's the struggles from Contreras. It just feels like you have a whole team of streaky hitters right now. And maybe, I mean, that might be how everybody feels, you know, even if you're working with the top 5 offense in the league, every hitter goes through, you know, hot streaks and cold snaps. But the Cardinals just seem particularly streaky, you know, and there are times when, like the end of this April and into May, when your whole team gets hot, it's nice. It feels like you have an offense that just is putting up runs every day. They're finding different ways to score. But then you go through stretches like they've gone through lately, where even during this 5-game win streak, it really felt like they're treading water. I mean, today, Abbott retired, 17 in a row? Yesterday, the Reds bullpen held the Cardinals hitless for a 6-frame stretch. Even against the White Sox, you know, they went through prolonged stretches without generating any offense in some of those games. And especially, I believe the first game of the doubleheader, they went up early and then they were hitless for a long time until finally generating some offense in the 9th inning or something like that after the Michael Taylor home run. So it just feels like it is frustrating and it is streaky, and you don't have that tent pole bat. And maybe Herrera is that guy in the future. He's still got a 157 WRC plus on the season, which is elite, right? That's probably a top 30 hitter in the league, maybe better. Maybe it's a top 20 hitter in baseball, but you don't have a superstar. And I mean, there are a lot of people that think Herrera may get worse. Not necessarily get worse, but just that 157 isn't who he is. Maybe he's more of a 140 guy. Still super valuable, but it's not a Kyle Tucker, you know? It's not a Yordan Alvarez. It's not what Cal Rowley's been this year for the Mariners. And I know those are the best hitters in the league, but without a guy like that, it just seems really hard to sustain stretches of winning. You know, you're not going to win 100 games without a superstar in your lineup these days. It's just not going to happen. I don't even know if you can win 95 without that guy anymore. The way teams are built, the way these teams hoard multiple stars, if you look at the Dodgers, it's so tough to compete. And the National League, it feels like you got a bunch of teams whose windows are all opening right now. It's going to be a very competitive next few years. It's just tough, you know? It also, I mean, this is what I said before the show, and I think it's whatever. You can disagree with me, but it is a little less boring. It's a little less exciting. I know Paul Goldschmidt won the MVP in 2022, but there's nobody on this Cardinals team that's going to contend for a real award anytime soon. And that's the type of thing you want to see. You want to see stars. I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but it's frustrating, you know, and there's really nothing you can do without a guy like that in the middle of your lineup. You can win sometimes, but it's tough.
Even though I agree they need, like, and I mean, it was my whole, which I got a lot of flack for, was surprised how much flack, the Rafi Devers stuff, but I mean, you do look at Ivan Herrera right now. He is 8th in all of baseball in WRC plus. He's really ahead of Mr. Kyle Tucker. He's ahead of Jose Ramirez, Freddie Freeman, Corbin Carroll, Manny Machado, Juan Soto. Like, the only guys he's behind is Judge, Rowley, Marte, Smith, Ohtani, Alonso, and Jonathan Arada. And so, like, but you got to be healthy. You got to be in the lineup, and he's not. And so
you got to be able to play. I mean, the fact that they're not going to let him catch either. Like, he's gonna find success as a DH because he's that good a hitter. But you're right, he's got to stay on the field.
But again, so, like, if he
like, as good as he is, it's a small sample size of being a 157 to 160 guy. It's a much bigger sample size of being a 130 to 140 guy. Still an elite bat. But I mean, do you think Ivan Herrera every year is capable of putting up a 155 WRC plus?
What would you count? Like, I mean, just off the top of your head, like, how many hitters are an elite hitter in baseball?
I mean, I think it's fair to say
the kind of difference maker you're talking about.
Roughly 30, you know?
Okay, so a 140 guy is...
Takes him one of those 30.
136. Pavin Smith is 30th in baseball to 136 right now. And so, like, I think Ivan, at least at this point, again, you're right, it's still early enough in his career that, like, he could taper off, but his career sample size is he's an elite hitter. Yeah. This year, he's a top 10 hitter in baseball, which, again, inflates some of that. But also, like, if he comes back down to earth, he's more of like a 140, 130 guy. You're not talking about coming back down to earth to 120 and 110. And so I think he's playing like a 10-pole bat right now in terms of, like, one of the best in baseball. He more so is probably an elite bat, and that's you, but you need multiple of those, right? You can't just have one truly elite bat in your lineup. if you're going to be one of these, for the most part, if you're going to beat these teams like the Dodgers and Yankees and all these, they have multiple of these guys.
I think about that though too. There's something to be said about true elite bats do rack up value, but they get a lot of that value out of power production, which Ivan Herrera, I mean, the home run production might not be there with Herrera. And I think that's fair to say. He's got 8 home runs and 150 plate appearances. If he were to get a full 600 at-bat season, you're talking a guy that's on pace to maybe hit 30 home runs, which is really nice. But
That is awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But we haven't even seen him stay healthy for long enough to get to 30, and you're still not talking about a guy that's getting into the upper 30s or close to 40.
But when you're also a doubles machine, he's 13th in baseball in slug. So like I have a really hard time looking at him and be like,
I see him as like a
power-wise right now.
Brendan Donovan plus. There's a little more power than Donovan. High average.
A little.
A lot. I mean, Donovan hits a lot of doubles too.
I think it's 100-point difference in slug though.
Yeah. It just feels like the home run production is not there, and that's a team-wide problem. But like,
yeah,
the Cardinals aren't
if you're talking about, if you're saying maybe 30, so you're between 26 and 30, like I'm not going to complain about your home run total. That's really good. Yeah. Like, not like we're not like only like 5 people in baseball eclipse 40 home runs. Like we're not talking about every team as a 40 run over.
The Cardinals aren't going to have anybody hit 30 this year.
Yeah, but that's not just an Ivan Herrera problem, and it's like okay, so last year in baseball, 20 guys hit 30, 23 guys hit 30 home runs.
0 of them were on the Cardinals, though.
But I'm just saying, like, if Ivan Herrera hits 28 and his 13th in slug, I can't complain about the power production.
Well, where do you think Ivan's home run total ends up this year? You think he goes over 25?
No, because he's not going to play.
He's not going to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder, like,
not
the one thing I want to add on Herrera is just that, like, not many teams have their like star bat as a DH. You know, like there's guys like Kyle Schwarber, who's like a role player on the Phillies at this point. Like he'd probably be the best bat on a lot of teams, but by being a DH, you're like limiting. And I know, like whatever, come at me. My DH or my favorite DH just threw an inning today. He should throw more than that. But anyway,
this time,
like there's not a lot of guys that can do it as a DH, and I think you just have to let Ivan Herrera catch. And maybe this hamstring injury was catching related. Like they didn't really say what happened. It looked like that injury in Boston was base running related, so maybe that was something that happened. I wouldn't say like, oh, he's not durable enough to catch or anything like that. But if that's your catcher and you let a guy like Burleson, who looks like he's developing into a role player kind of role, he's been the best hitter on the Cardinals for the last month. So I think that's like a guy you could slot in as your DH. That like you do that, you remove Pajes, who has been an offensive liability. Pozo's been fine though. I'm not opposed to him catching more, although he has made a couple of mistakes in the last yesterday made a mistake that didn't result in a run, and then today made a mistake that did cost the Cardinals, I think, the go-ahead run with the pass ball. But, you know, you just have to see what he can do as a catcher, because you see these teams like with Cal Raleigh and Will Smith. If you have a catcher that's going to give you that kind of production, like you're just going to be a really good team and you're going to score a lot more runs. But I think that's my main concern with Herrera being the tentpole bat. I don't know if that's valid or not. But I think most of those guys with the WRC plus that high, like maybe a couple of them are DHs, and like the only ones that I really think of, the only like DHs I really think of that I can carry a lineup are like Yordan Alvarez and Shohei Ohtani. I don't know, like I don't like Kyle Schwarber is like kind of near that tier, but you know, not.
Yeah, he doesn't hit for enough average. He strikes more than those guys.
And like Seiya Suzuki is great to have for the Cubs, but that's not really. He's less valuable, as we've seen in years past. Like he's less valuable without like Kyle Tucker and PCA.
Yeah, Suzuki's also having his best season ever, and the Cubs they literally have 9 good hitters every day. Like it's gonna be. I
don't know about that. Dansby Swanson is not like a great hitter. But.
Dansby Swanson this year's been awesome though. I mean, for the Cubs, truly, the rising tide has lifted all boats. It feels like there are 9 guys that are hitting in Chicago every day. Even your Dansby Swansons, your Nico Horners. mean, Nico Horner's basically got the same OPS plus as Mason Wynn at this point.
Yeah. Which also, I think that's let's think of all our sponsors and let's talk about the lineup as a whole. But I do have some more Ivan Herrera thoughts. But I just do think this is a really interesting part of the team discussion right now is the offense, because that is most where the opportunities are coming and most of the young guys we're seeing this year. So it frankly should be most of the conversation we're having. But as always, want to thank 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard and Olivet. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards. They have new selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. Make sure you go check them out. We've always got good stuff going on over there. Oh, look at that Mason Wynn autographed two-way card from Team USA. Beautiful. So you can snag cards like that over at 314. And also want to thank one of our other sponsors of the podcast, and that is Underdog Sports. The Deal on the Cards podcast is proud to be partnered with Underdog Sports, our favorite place to play fantasy games. You're now eligible to play in Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and 37 other U.S. states. You got to check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. You just pick 2 to 8 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can win 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If that sounds like fun, sign up with our promo code CARDS to claim your first free pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We can't wait to see your entries. Make sure you use that promo code CARDS on the screen, and you can download the Underdog Sports. Remember, you get a first free time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a first free pick 'em. So appreciate Underdog Sports for their support. So on the Ivan Herrera topic, great points though, like seriously about the DH thing. It's like if the bat plays this well, it does carry the lineup. He is in that, but it is assuming a lot that he will be that good. If you're a 140 WRC plus guy, 130 WRC plus guy, and you're a catcher, you're not quite Cal Riley, but Cal Riley is having one of the best seasons by a catcher ever. So like that standard is something. But that is Will Smith, and that's better. I mean, actually, Will Smith this year is a 171 too, which is kind of crazy that they're both popping off this year. But it's an elite bat and it's an elite asset to have in your lineup. And I think
JT Realmuto at that point. That's what he was.
Yeah.
Catcher in the league. Yeah.
So one of the things I do think would be I mean, for as much as, again, I'm not on the I'm definitely not on the doom and gloom. Like, man, I just hope they play bad. But one of the silver linings if the Cardinals do decide, hey, like we tried and we're not necessarily going to push all of our chips in, we're still going to prioritize development. If they do that if they ever fully make that stance or start to really shift in that direction the rest of the year, Ivan Herrera should be catching that. There's no, unless they have concerns about the injury thing, and that's a whole other thing that we could talk about, because that doesn't have to do with competency at that point. That has to do with durability, and I think it's a fair conversation. But if they have any inkling that they think Ivan Herrera could be a catcher, then he should be getting the most of the reps at that point to grow in it, to see if he can do it. And then if he can't, then this offseason you figure out, is he a left fielder, a right fielder, a DH, a first base? You figure that out. It helps with the roster crunch. But like Kareem put this in, this is, I mean, kind of part of the reason I was like, go after Rafi Devers, because that's not happening, is who's that elite corner outfield bat? And I'm not like calling it Kareem. It's just like, okay, like they're not signing Kyle Tucker. They're not, but we know they're not going to get 500. The Cardinals, if people, like, this is one of the things that made me want to pull my hair out, is people were like, there's no way they'd ever trade for a $300 million contract. Okay, so they're going to sign a guy for a $500 million contract? No, they're not going to do that. Okay, so they don't do that. Then are they going to trade the massive package it takes to go get a guy with cost control? No. And are they going to trade the equivalent of like an Isaac Paredes and Cam Smith to get 1 year of a guy? No. So like, what is that path toward getting a bat?
There's no path.
Unless they change their ways besides developing it or getting creative and going after something like that. I understand it was crazy, and we can maybe do that conversation another time. I don't think people are opening up their minds enough to the idea that it's like, this is the unique situations that the Cardinals have pursued in the past. And it's the times they actually enter the races when Giancarlo Stanton's available, and he got the contract before he hit our free agency. And so they were willing to take on $300 million, because at the time that contract was big, but it wasn't crazy. I mean, it was crazy big, but like he would have got more in the open market. The Goldie Arenado situations, they don't happen very often. And there was risk with it where like the last few years of Arenado's contract hasn't been good. And Goldie, they had to extend, and I think they knew they were going to be able to get that done. Stan's like the only other, like honestly, besides Stan, I can't think of another situation that's similar to Rafi Devers in the last decade. And so for people like, oh, go get the next guy, I'm like, Who is
There's
the
not
next guy?
There's
Because
not.
the next guy is out of their price range.
What I
Unless they
think-
just
I do
completely
wonder,
change
like,
things.
I don't know.
I think
With
the
the
Devers
Devers,
higher than people
yeah.
think too. Like, do you know what year of his contract he's in right now?
Devers,
Yeah.
he's in year 3 or year 2. He's in year 2 of 8 or 10.
Yeah.
He has 8 more years.
But like, that's not that bad for a guy that's only 28.
36 when he's done.
Yeah, you're not paying for him at age 40. Like, you're not going to get that many bad years out of him. It's just a question of would he have moved off third base with another team? Like, yeah, I'm sure the Cardinals could have figured out a way to work that out.
And here's this, like Boston, like Duran. It's like, yeah, I can see him do that, but that's not elite corner outfield bat. He had one elite year. Like we're talking about.
Yeah, Duran doesn't do what you need.
Yeah, and so
Duran could be like a 130 guy.
And so it could be right now Rodriguez, right? It could be Ivan Herrera. It could be some of these guys. Like we sure hope so. But that's where I just was like, when he talks, like I sometimes I can't wrap my mind around, like we know how these Cardinals operate, right? And Devers, it was the one time you could actually convince me, other than the fact the timing and just the positional log jams, that they could actually consider something. And they didn't, and it's whatever. I just don't see like that situation popping up in 2028, barring something crazy happening, like the Red Sox just deciding, hey, we're not going to communicate with our star player. We're going to make him so upset he's going to want to leave. Like, I don't understand how that happens. So
I do wonder though, like one, Devers had nowhere to play, especially with Herrera, unless you trade one of those guys, and then I don't know. It's so much money, and then like the Chaim Bloom thing is the one thing I look to where it's like, maybe he wants to play for Chaim Bloom.
It's not
again,
even that much money, though. It's really not that bad. Like it's 31 a year. Sonny Gray is going to get paid 35 next year. Okay.
Yeah. And if he had hit free agency, he was getting more money than that.
Yeah.
But also with all the stuff that's coming out from Boston, it does seem like he really was a clubhouse cancer. And like, I don't know if you want that in a clubhouse full of young guys that like.
Yeah, but it also feels like it was like I've said this multiple times. I think Rafi Devers handled the situation extremely poorly and should have handled it better. But it feels more like there was a beef between him and the front office and organization, and he's moving on. He's going to operate differently in San Francisco. But there's also clearly quite a bit of reporting on how much Boston botched it, and both sides look equally dumb from it. I think Devers is the one we hate on because it's like it seems the easiest thing of all to change positions, be a team player, and I agree with that. He should have done it. Like I'm not refuting that, but it wouldn't have scared me off from acquiring him, if I'm being honest. But I understand why it could for other people.
I also do wonder if he's back with Chaim Bloom, he's like, I have to play third base because Chaim Bloom promised me to play third. Like that's this thing where I was like, maybe that would have been a problem here.
Especially, but I mean, he came to San Francisco and was like, "I'll play wherever they want." Like he made it clear that
he didn't have an existing relationship with Buster Posey.
Yeah, but I mean, also like if there's ever a time to come in and flex, I mean, he can't do it, Matt Chapman, but like I don't know, he could have made it an issue.
If Nolan Arenado was playing third base, I think Rapi's like, all right, I'm not taking third base.
Yeah.
Like,
and also like
Alex Bregman was doing that too, and he got upset.
Yeah, but it wasn't the fact that Bregman came in. It seems clear. It clearly seems like it was the communication side of things in the Boston front office. Again, I'm not defending how Rafi Devers acted. I'm just saying I don't think it's like he's gonna go do that everywhere he goes. But then like Ivan Herrera got hurt, so like he could have been the DH right now. And like again, this is where I'm like, okay, if you're an opportunistic organization, then you look at it and it's like, oh crap, we got to put Ivan Herrera at catcher now instead of Pedro Pages to make space for Rafi Devers. Oh, we can't do it. It's like, no, you say bye Pedro Pages and you figure it out and you hope you can. At that point, you become even more motivated to move from Nolan Arenado and just figure out how to get rid of the money.
Pedro Pages with Pozo right now, but that's a different story.
That's true. Anyways, it was hypothetical. It's not going to happen. I just, when people talk about go get that big bat, I'm like, true, go get it. Like, Bill, I would love if they go get Corbin Carroll from Arizona, but tell me how on earth the Arizona Diamondbacks are ever going to get rid of him.
They have a massive extension.
Yeah, and it's super team friendly.
It's like the Churio deal. Like, you're not getting Jackson Churio. You're not getting Julio Rodriguez, although I don't even know if I'd want him right now. You're not getting Ronald Acuna Jr. You're not getting Corbin Carroll. These guys are not available. These teams don't trade these guys once they lock them up.
The one guy that I can start, but this is such a projection. It's such like me throwing out like crap as in like this could happen, but probably won't. Is Fernando Tatis Jr. That's the one guy I think could like a similar situation could play out where the Padres are just like sick of it. But I definitely don't see that happening. It's just that's maybe the one guy I could think of. But Anyways, but so you brought up earlier, like the Cardinals offense, and Sandy, it's a good point going into this Cubs series. We haven't watched the Cubs yet this year. Their pitching's been pretty good, but the 1 through 9 they can hit. Part of that's the fact that they have 3 elite bats that help raise, like you said, they raise the play of the rest of the other guys on the team. And one of the things I think is really interesting right now is you look at this Cardinals lineup, and Mason Wynn over the last 30 days has been your number 2 hitter and has a sub 700 OPS at 632. It's not trending in the right direction. The last 15 days, it's sub 500, and it's back to a little over 600 last few days. I don't really know who you bat in the 2 spot right now if you rearrange the lineup, but like that is something I think is really interesting, that you do have like Brendan Donovan at the top, who struggled a little bit as a leadoff guy, but he's still Brendan Donovan. Mason Wynn, who's struggling. You got Burleson, Contreras, who's been struggling. Like this lineup really needs to turn it around if they're going to start scoring runs.
Yeah, they're just scoring off bullpens and they're scoring off mistakes, which is nice. But it's like, come on, it's Andrew Abbott's really good. He's having a really nice stretch right now. Like you got to be able to go get a hit between the 2nd and 8th innings. You got to be able to make something happen. Like force him to think about a runner on base. Because when you let guys just cruise like that at the major league level, you pay for it,
Yeah.
It's just brutal. You let him go on autopilot and it's over. And, especially in the later innings too, where the Cardinals were just unable to rack up his pitch count at all. 7-pitch 7th inning, like 12-pitch 6th inning. This guy was at 60 pitches at the end of the 3rd inning, easily could have knocked him out had the Cardinals gone up there, taken focused at bats and been able to work a count. But instead you had all these guys way too aggressive, and all of a sudden he's pitching through 7. And it's like, you didn't even get a chance to look at a Reds bullpen that's depleted and has been terrible this series. 2 things that the Cardinals, were really going to work in their favor. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be too mad about it. This is a guy who's like 3rd in NL ERA.
Yeah, he's been excellent. 12 starts. So, I mean,
and he's a lefty.
Yeah, also
lefties.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah. I was saying, finally puts the JC on the roster though for Josh, just for you.
Here's the thing about it. Like, I'm glad they did it, but I'm looking at the comments from Ollie, and he's like, he is a bench piece for us. We called him up to be a bench piece, and it's like, oh wait, so we couldn't do that all year, but now we can. Like, whatever. I
mean, where was he going to play? Do you want him starting every day? I feel like
no. I don't want him starting every day. I've been completely fine with him being off the bench, but they haven't been fine with it. And then they call him up and say he's a bench piece, and it's like, wait, why do you care now? Why are you okay with it now, but you weren't before? But
I mean, probably because he's going to play more with Herrera out, but I don't know.
Yeah, a bit more, but I still don't think he's playing frequently enough to be like, oh, like to appease the fact that they think he needs to be getting consistent at bats. I don't see consistent at bats coming for him all that more so than what it would have been before. So, but I'm glad he's on the roster. They need a right-handed bat, like especially with Yvonne out, but they needed it before Yvonne was out. So now they need it again, but there is no other guy. So, oh boy,
they're in a bad spot.
I mean, what's the thing you guys are watching the most going into this Cubs series? Like offense. I mean, is there something the Cubs are doing that you're really like keeping your eye on? Is there something in the Cardinals pitching staff, bullpen, the offense? Like, what's kind of like the thing to watch going into the series for you?
Well, I want to see how Libby navigates this start. Like, I just want to see how Libby works through Chicago's lineup. I know that's kind of overarching. It's kind of general, kind of vague, but I want to see how Libby works through this lineup. There are guys with the Cardinals lineup. I think I understand how opposing pitchers attack our lineup. When everyone's healthy, it's like, dude, just pitch around Herrera. If Burleson's hot, pitch around Burleson. There's probably like 3 guys at any given time that are hitting. Right now, there's like 1. It's Burleson. Just pitch around that guy. And then you've got your easy outs at the bottom of the lineup and whoever's cold. Like Lars Nootbaar 0 for 28 at one point. Like he was an easy out for a while. You pitch to that guy. The Cubs don't have a lot of easy outs in that lineup. And I hate to say it, but it's true. Yeah, there's some swing and miss in there, and I'm excited to see how Libby attacks those guys. I want to see him versus PCA. It's going to be a fun matchup, I think. But look, I don't know how you navigate that. You can't really pitch around anybody. He's going to have to go at people. He's going to have to be a bulldog out there. And it's going to be tough, especially with some of the heat too. This week, it's going to stay hot.
True.
We'll see how Libby with this fatigue pitches, because this is the first time I think he's pitched in true St. Louis summer weather for us this year, since being like a full-time actual starter. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that too. I mean, you saw how it affected Gray the other day. And I think you saw how it affected Michaelis too. I think he was laboring out there a little bit too. So two veterans who've been around a long time and have pitched in hot weather for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how Libby navigates that. Just a lot going on for his start tomorrow. But hey, he could go out there and shove. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. How about you, Andrew?
I mean, just seeing if Libby as well, but just how the pitching can survive against, a Cubs lineup that's been really good. And then seeing if I don't have the probables yet. I can pull that up. But just like the Cubs rotation pitching staff isn't the strongest. So if they can take advantage of the chances they get, Ben Brown tomorrow, 5.57 ERA. If we can hit off him, that would be great. Jamison Tyone, I feel like his metrics, he's overperforming his metrics as well. And then you got TBD, but Imanaga is going to be one of those games that's going to be pretty tough for you, for a team that can't face lefties. And, I won't give Imanaga any credit, but, the Cardinals can't hit any lefties, good or bad. That's all I'll say. And then, hey, Imanaga has a higher xERA than Miles Michaelis is all I'm going to say. He's been getting lucky, but whatever. That's a story for another time. And, I would be happy with the split. But, this team can go out there and prove me wrong. Eric Fetty, man, on Tuesday, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, that's the start. I'm circling this. This could go really poorly.
Oh, boy.
Dude, I'm excited to see how we face Ian Happ. This is a weaker season for him, but he's hot right now, which is terrible.
Is he?
Ian Happ at Busch Stadium is bad.
It's just Wayno. It's just Wayno that 1 year. That's fine.
No, I mean, if you look at Ian Happ's career numbers, he mashes against the Cardinals. It's crazy.
So bad. If Ian Happ only faced Adam Wainwright for his entire career, even prime Adam Wainwright, he'd have been Barry Bonds. It's unbelievable. It's like the reverse Kyle Hendricks effect. There are just guys that kill certain
Kyle Hendricks isn't there anymore, so maybe. And we hit Imanaga pretty well last year, I remember.
But I think
that was like one of Helsley's rare blown saves back in the day. Now common blown saves, but whatever.
Woof. I think I'm looking for, they need to score early and often in this series, because the Cubs bullpen. Whoa, great temper. Sneeze. Cubs bullpen outside of Ryan Presley, he's actually been really good this year. It's a top 10 unit in baseball, and it feels like this Cardinals lineup has been doing the whole we'll figure it out at the end of the game and we'll put across the runs we need to score. And I don't think it's going to work against this Cubs team, especially on Monday against Ben Brown. You got to jump on him. Tyone, if you don't jump on him early, I could see the Cubs jumping on Fetty. Yeah, and I mean Imanaga, that's gonna be tough. Luckily, the bullpen, or the Cubs bullpen, only carries 2 lefties right now, so that helps in their favor. But both Caleb Thibar and then Drew Pomerantz have been awesome this year, so that's gonna be tough late in games. They bring in those lefties to go against Alec Burleson, Donnie, all those guys. But yeah, I mean both for the big picture side of things, because the offense is the one filled with the young guys right now, and 2, because I think it's the way you win this series is they gotta figure a way to keep up pace with this Cubs lineup or get ahead of it, right? Not just fall down 5-0 and then try to scrape and call black at the end. Can you be the team that sets the tone and also gives your starters confidence going out there? Can you give Libby a 2 or 3 run lead in the second inning to go out there and to pitch confidently, rather than he's down 1-0 because Ian Happ took him deep to lead off the game or something, and then he's kind of pressing a little bit, or Eric Fetty's walking the world. Can you give these guys the confidence? Especially, honestly, Eric Fetty, I mean, he just walks guys anyways, but get him a lead so he throws it, keeps it in the zone.
Eric Fetty might give up 12 runs, because Eric Fetty walks so many guys, and this Cubs lineup slugs. PCA and Suzuki already have 20 bombs apiece. You've got Tucker there with 15. How many bombs do the Cardinals have total this year? What are they?
Didn't Eric Fetty throw a shutout on Blogger Day against the Dodgers?
Not a complete game, but I think so.
No, but he threw 5 or 6 shutout.
Yeah, I think he was excellent.
Maybe we're reverse jinxing him. So, actually, it's kind of weird. The Cubs are 20th in home runs this year, and the Cardinals are 22nd, separated by 5.
How many do
my bad. What? My bad. That was 2024.
Yeah, first.
Because I was like, wait a second. There's no way that's real. Cubs are 3rd in home runs. I don't know why it was 2024 filtered. Woof. And the Cardinals have 74. So Cubs have 113. The Cardinals have 74.
Dude, the Cardinals as a unit have 74 home runs. PCA, Suzuki, and Tucker have combined just themselves for 57.
Oof.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
That's why I'm complaining about the power outage on this team. Even if, like, I think the best version of Herrera gets near 30 home runs a year.
Oh, man. I was about to say, I agree with you, but not complaining about Herrera. Like, you gave me
It's not
13
Herrera's
pitch luck, and
fault.
we're complaining about your
Yeah,
power.
30 home runs, if there's like 2 or 3 guys that are getting up near 30 home runs, is great. That's great power production. But if you
So
don't
that's
have
a problem
else,
for the other guys. I don't think it's like let's hone in on Ivan Herrera as
but
the
if
problem.
nobody else hits more than 20, then it's bad. It's not enough.
I mean, it's not, but you can't look
It's
at
not
Ivan and be like, we need more from you
No, it's
when you're
true. It's not
13th
his
in slug.
fault.
It's you look at the rest of the
It's not his
guys
fault,
and
but
say
the
we
rest-
need more from you.
We need more from everybody. Except Ivan.
Except Ivan. Except Ivan needs to be on the field. That's what they need.
Yeah, that's true. We need some
So
help from Ivan. No, he's great. It's just like I would love it if there was something to go with him. He's 1 star, but you can't
for sure
win these series, especially if the Cardinals were to get to October. You can't do damage to good pitchers without multiple tough bats because people pitch around Ivan. I think when he was really hot to start the season, we saw what that looked like. They were just walking him. He was walking almost every time up there, it felt like.
But even then, he still, when he went down with injury, had a 900s OPS, a 930 OPS. It's not like he had a 925 OPS, so he's still been great.
He's been outstanding, but people don't even want to pitch to him. You don't want to throw anything in the zone.
Well, the other problem too is they don't have another right-handed bat that's near that good. It's Burleson and Donovan, and Contreras is supposed to be that guy, and he's not.
So disappointing.
So it's really hurtful too for the lineup when he's the only right-handed bat that truly makes a difference right now. So,
I mean, yeah, this is exactly what Josh is saying, and I agree with it. This says why blame Herrera when Walker and Gorman flat out stink. Yeah, that's totally fair. We could talk about Walker if you guys want to. If you guys are thinking, I don't know where you guys are on him. Gorman's been all right lately, but they're also like still not finding ways for Gorman to play enough, which I'm sure Andrew has a bone to pick with, which is fair. The season of runway for everybody, including Pajes, except for Gorman. But I mean, yeah, we know those guys stink. Like I know Walker's been terrible this year, and I don't know, what do you guys expect from him at this point?
Walker?
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah. Do you think Walker? Do you think there's even a path to him being like a solid above average player at this point? Maybe not in.
I mean, yeah, probably, but I don't know. I need to see it.
Yeah,
it just looks so bad.
It looks really bad.
You guys want to guess where he ranks among the 243 hitters with 170?
I know he's better than Michael Conforto because that's the one I've been keeping track of.
He is 230th in baseball in WRC plus among the 270 hitters that qualify.
What's 62. He got?
62 WRC plus on the season.
How is it so bad?
His ISO, oh gosh, is 0.087. Let's see where that ranks. That's pretty terrible. That would be Tommy Pham's a 0.026. That's so bad. Oh my goodness. Walker's is above Victor Scott, which you would expect. 220. He's ranks 221 in all baseball, and Scott ranks 223. So
it's really bad. I
mean, I'm not like Walker will never be anything. So I'm not there yet, but I also am not banking on. I'm not even not banking on. I'm not. If you asked me to pick, I'd say I'd be very surprised if Jordan Walker becomes a good bat at this point.
So at this point, Walker has had a worse career than Dylan Carlson. So
I think what sucks most about Jordan Walker is that you're talking about a guy who is the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. And it's not just that he's been a bust so far. It's not like he's a league average hitter or something and you're just waiting for the breakout. It's like, no, you wish this guy was within 20 points of league average. I mean, it's really bad. It's not like this is a guy who's putting up the offensive numbers of Mason Wynn. And so you're like, oh, we're hoping for more, but you can justify playing him literally 40% below league average. He's a worse hitter right now than Pedro Pajes. And not only is he a worse hitter than Pedro Pajes, but he's probably, among everybody on this team, he's the easiest guy to pitch to. You throw the same pitch every time. I mean, I wonder what they're going to throw you next. I wonder what's coming. And he has no way of holding up. No way.
Well, I think part of the problem here too is like, I mean, Joseph, like he's like demotion. And I'm not refuting that as a fair take, but also like, what do? Like they don't have another right-handed bat to turn to right now. Like they're in a really tricky spot, especially with
We'll play Donovan in the outfield every day and let JC take second base.
That's true. You could do that, but and then who do you bring up? I mean, I guess Lucan Baker.
Like
I guess you could, but it's another left-handed bat. Like they do need a right-handed bat, and I should check and see what Jordan Walker's splits are against lefties this year, because that does matter for this conversation. If he's even slightly productive, they need it. That's not necessarily totally fair to his long-term outlook at this point. Against lefties this year, Jordan. Oh gosh, why am I surprised it's bad? Oh, never mind. He's even worse against lefties this year. It's a 52 WRC plus. Wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe demote him.
Well, I don't even know what you're hoping for anymore with the Jordan Walker demotion. Like maybe he figures it out, or it's just that you don't have to play him.
Yeah, because that is the thing. It's like it's the breaking stuff that you just can't hit. It's like when you go to AAA, you're not really facing that. Like
I wonder, like, what happened, like, because he was fine against breaking stuff in 23, right? This is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. They just seem to have a way better game plan, and also they're like just constantly attacking that now. Where it wasn't like they kind of did it; they just know, like, why would we throw anything else?
Fastballs. Yeah, no, it's literally sliders off the plate. Everything is outside and down every time. And it's like the screenshots of his at-bats are just infuriating because he sees 6 pitches, all of which are out of the zone, fouls one off, looks at one, and swings and misses at 3 more. It's like, it's terrible. It's terrible. You can't even, and you know what's happening. You know what's coming. Not even putting the ball in play. It doesn't matter how elite how elite the exit velocities are or whatnot. If you can't put the ball in play, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And even when he is hitting the ball, the contact's not even that great because he's not seeing anything over the middle of the plate. He's neither selective nor is he aggressive in the zone. Like when Jordan Walker sees pitches in the zone, he's laying off of them. He's not even swinging at stuff in the zone.
No bueno. No bueno, guys. Oh, well. Anything else going into this Cubs series at all? Or I'm not going to make predictions. I feel like it's going to make it worse.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any predictions either.
Let's all do like a little 5-minute glaze of PCA to see if it.
No.
Managa,
reverse jinxing.
To that level.
No, I've always thought he was going to be an all-star last year. His metric, he's just one of those guys that always overperforms his metrics. You know, like that's his skill.
That's his skill.
Well, Dakota Hudson did it consistently.
That's true. There's guys that do it. John King does it. Although John King should probably go down to AAA. Yeah,
King's not been great lately. He's not keeping anybody on the ground. His sinker's too high in the zone all the time. He just needs a chance to reset. Don't worry. He'll figure it out.
Will he? I don't know.
King's also not throwing his changeup enough. He should throw it like 90% of the time. Just only junk. Yeah, I don't know.
Man.
There's a longer conversation that we'll have to have sometime in the future about developing star talent. But the Jordan Walker stuff is so disheartening. Do you think with Jordan Walker at this point, it's even like a developmental question? Like, do you think the Cardinals are still thinking development with him? Or are they just like, this is what we've got?
No, I think they're thinking development. I don't think they've given up yet. But
when do they give up? Like, how short is the leash?
Give up as in like totally give up, or give up as in the runway's done this year?
The runway's
done. He's earned the run back.
Let's say totally give up. Because I think coming into this year, we're like, oh, it's got to be all year. It's got to be all year with Walker and all the runway in the world. But I think the thought was like, because he keeps finding a new basement, and that's the problem for us.
Yeah.
Like if Jordan Walker, I remember when he first debuted, people were talking about like at the very worst, Walker is a league average hitter or something like that. And we're talking about a guy who had a 116 WRC plus as rookie. And I just don't think anybody saw a 60-point regression coming. Because if Jordan Walker has a 90 WRC plus and it's like, okay, he's not that great offensively, but he's a passable 8 hitter right now. If that's where you are, then it's like, that's fine. You can keep playing him thinking about development, but he is a black hole at the plate. It's so bad. And I just don't know what you do. I don't know what you do if you're the Cardinals. I feel terrible for the position that it puts Ali in, trying to find a spot to play him. It's just brutal.
For sure.
I feel bad for Jordan too. I know he just I know he's working hard and he wants to succeed. It's just a shame.
Yeah, we'll have to continue this conversation for sure another time because if it's this bad, I mean, then I think 2026 might be in question at this point. But if he even rebounds just a little bit, I think he turns into what Nolan Gorman was this year, right? Where he's supposed to be a prime weight guy, but you're also not protecting him from JJ Weatherholt taking his spot or whoever the guys are. But he's got to show some stuff to be a penciled in starter next year.
You're not seeing
he does have the advantage of being a right-handed back because they do not have any. So it's hard to look because at some point you can't run 8 lefties in your lineup, guys. Like you just can't do it. Like
even the guys that are like fringe guys, like Cesar Prieto, left-handed hitter. Nathan Church left-handed
lefty.
hitter.
Which also it's really funny. People are like, Nathan Church, he's part of the off-foot court. I'm like, he's doing great, but like until this year, this dude could not hit a lick. So like, calm down a little bit. Calm down just a little bit, please.
Although, dude, he is kind of cooking right now. I'd honestly be interested in seeing what he looks like.
I'm not saying you should be interested in seeing him, but it's funny to me when people are like, the future of the outfield is Nathan, and the Nathan Church's name is in it. I'm like, maybe. Let's slow down though. Maybe.
Well, I mean, Joshua Baez hits right-handed.
Yeah, that's a guy.
He's not at Memphis yet, though. But I mean, this is a random question. This is a great way to, I don't know, to be done maybe with this conversation. But like, do you think if you put Joshua Baez into the lineup right now, do you think he's a better hitter than Jordan Walker?
The bar is so low right now that maybe, but also I don't want the Cardinals getting ideas and try that because let's let Joshua Baez cook. So.
Dude, he's cooking though. I love it. I love what I'm seeing from Joshua.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's been really fun.
Make sure you check out Birds on the Farm. That's a good plug for that because that's where Sandy and Kareem are always breaking that stuff down. There's gonna be some fun episodes coming out even when Sandy's out. So make sure to check about that draft prep. But also again, the state of system. There are a lot of names like a Joshua Baez, Reinel Rodriguez, Takeo Roby, Henderson. Like there's a lot of guys this year that are having really good years, and so it's fun to follow. So anyways, we appreciate the time as always. Like and subscribe helps the channel out a ton. Go Cardinals, man. Big series coming up. This next stream could be really fun or quite heartbreaking. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
Sandy won't be there.
Hitting the 3-week IL.
Yeah, 3-week IL with marriage. So welcome to the club. But yeah, so make sure you send your wedding presents to Sandy. You can.
I will.
And salute him and wish him a good time. So we'll catch you guys next time on Dealing the Cards. But as always, like, subscribe, help channel a ton. We appreciate your support. See ya.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks.